Hi, everybody. We're back, and we're going to be looking at the demand equation as I had promised. Now, I know within your textbook there are a lot of examples, there's a lot of exercises, and we just don't have time in class to cover all of them. So what I'm doing here is I'm pulling out the most important information for you to know as you move forward in healthcare. You'll see it in the future and you'll say, I've done that. I know how to do that. Not every exercise is something that you would do in practicality in the future. So I'm choosing those that you would, and it gives you a very good basis to do so. So I have made a demand equation PowerPoint. This is page 122, yes, 122 in your textbook. So if you're in your ebook, you can go there now. If you have a physical copy of the textbook, you can go to it now. I do have the question on the PowerPoint, so if you don't get it open in time before I start to speak, that's perfectly fine, but it is page 122 in your textbook. Okay, let's go there now. And I'm going to walk you through this step by step. There will be no reason to feel scared, no reason to feel like you're unsure of what we're doing. You guys are going to get this. This is going to be fabulous. Okay, let's go there. So I'm going to share my screen with you. Should be sharing now. And okay, and this is our demand equation. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that in the large print here so we know what we're doing. So here's the equation. And again, it's exercise 7.13, page 122 in your textbook. Let's do this. A physical therapy clinic faces a demand equation of Q equals 200 minus 1.5 times P. Now, what I want you to notice, the first thing I want you to notice is that they're giving you the equation. So I know a lot of people say, oh gosh, I don't even know where to start, but you're actually getting the equation first here, right? So don't be afraid of it. I will show you where to put the numbers, and that's really what we're doing here, right? So Q typically stands for quantity, right? And that is like, Q is sessions. Sessions are basically our quantity. And the P is the price per session. So Q is the quantity or how many sessions we're having, and then P is the price per session. Okay, so if you go to yoga on a Saturday and you go every Saturday, every month, right? In 1 month, you would have went 4 Saturdays, right? Because there's 4 Saturdays in a month. And it was $10 per session. So if you went 4 times to yoga this month, right? 4 sessions. And it was $10 a session, 4 times 10 would be what, right? $40. All right. But we're working a little bit differently here because we're not doing straight, well, you know, how many sessions times the price. This is because it's called a demand equation. So for the demand equation, they give you the equation Q, or quantity, or sessions in this case, equals 200 minus 1.5 times the P, price. Okay, then we're asking the following questions. The clinic currently charges $80. What's the sales volume and revenue? What happens if we raise it to 90? What happens if we lower it to 70? Right, what happens to our revenue? How much are we going to make? That's always the big question. All right, so this is just the question. Just the question. All I want you to do is note that they give you the equation. That's it. If you did that, you're doing great. Let's move on. So again, step 1, and you could tell I made this, right? Because I already said it. Be sure to remember your equation. This is given to you in the question. Q equals Q equals 200. I said P100. I'm losing my mind. Q equals 200 minus 1.5 times P. Again, Q is the quantity. Q is the sessions per month. And P is the price per session. So write that down. However you take these notes, write it down. Because if you write that down, you will not get lost. I will not lose you if you write that down. I will not lose you. Okay. Now, step 2. I'm asking, what are we, I'm going to ask the question, what are we asking for? So I copied and pasted the question again, so I remember. A physical therapy clinic faces a demand equation of Q equals 200 minus 1.5 times P. Quantity equals 200 minus 1.5 times the price, right? So that's our general question, but there's no real question there. It's just a statement, right? It's telling us what the equation is. So now we have to return to the actual question set and tackle it one part at a time. So there's A, B, and C, right? Well, obviously we're not going to do all three at one time, so we'll start with the A portion. Because this in of itself isn't a question. This is just telling you, hey, use this equation. Plug the numbers in here, right? Okay. So here is the actual question in A. The clinic currently charges $80, right? $80, and of course that's per session. So what is its sales volume and revenue at this price? Okay. Okay. So you are just plugging in the number in A. It's giving you a number. It's giving you a number, right? This is the demand equation, right? So you're plugging in the value. Okay, you're plugging in the value. Ask yourself, how do I achieve sales, volume, and revenue? Take your question out again and break it down. Q is quantity, or in this case, sessions per month. P is for price. Revenue is the number of sessions per month. So hint, $80 is the revenue per session, times the price per session. How many sessions do you have per month? How much is each session, right? Easy. So what do they really want you to do here? Q equals 200 minus 1.5 times P. That's our general equation. Now we just plug in these numbers. Q equals 200 minus 1.5, that's what they gave us, times the only other number that we were given in order to accomplish this, which is the $80, right? We weren't given any other number. That's all she wrote when it came to that. So that's the only number we could possibly plug in is the price, right? The clinic currently charges $80. That tells you, it currently charges. That means it's price, right? $80. So it has to go where the P's at. So do you remember how to do an equation like this? Do you remember? And I learned it. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. What does that mean? It means that there are certain functions that you do in order to figure something out before others. To make a very long story short, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, right? So we don't have any parentheses, we don't have any exponents, but we do have multiplication. So we do the multiplication before we do the subtraction, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And for all intents and purposes, I am going to put that on here in case you all do not remember that, although I don't know how you could forget. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, which stands for parentheses, exponents. Please excuse my multiplication. I still have to say it out loud. Multiply, my dear is division, Aunt is addition, and Sally is subtraction. Thank goodness they said it so many times, huh? And they spelled subtraction wrong. Okay, that's not bad for doing that straight away. So please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. Okay, good. Now let me go from my current slide here. Okay, so please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. It basically just tells us what we need to do first. So we need to multiply 1.5 times 80. And let me pull up my calculator for you all again. Oops, that blew up crazy. Okay, not that big. Whoops. Okay, that was a little bit too big. I was doing too much there. Okay, so I lost my calculator again. Let me pull that up. Okay, so please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So we're going to do 1.5 times 80. 1.5 times 80 is 120, right? So Q equals 200. Q equals 200 minus the sum of 1.5 times 80, which is 120. So what's 200? And I'm just going to do this, just so you can see. 200 minus 120 is 80. So Q equals 80. So revenue equals the number of sessions per month. Hint that the $80 is the revenue per session times P. So the sales volume, right? Because we were looking for the what Q was, right? We were looking for Q. Q was our mystery. We were doing this whole thing, this whole equation. I'm going to pull this up here. We were doing this whole equation to figure out what our quantity was. How many sessions? How many sessions per month did we have? We didn't know. We know that we did $80 per session, but we didn't know how many sessions we did. In order to figure out how many sessions we did Q equals 200 minus 1.5 times P. Once we figured out what P was, which was $80, they gave that to us. Then we were able to come up with, okay, the quantity was 80. There was 80 sessions this month. So now, to achieve our sales volume is just Q times P. Quantity times price. Very simple, guys. Do not take this and look at it and think, oh my gosh, this is hard. This isn't hard, right? This is what you do every single day. You go to the grocery store, you say, I need 6 bananas. Those bananas are, 20 cents a piece, right? I don't know, 20 cents a piece for a banana times 6 bananas is $1.20. I was gonna say 120. That would be wrong. It would be $1.20. That would be a mighty expensive banana, right? But if you're getting 6 bananas at 20 cents a piece, it's $1.20, right? This is not any more difficult. You have a service that's $80 and you did 80 sessions. This doesn't have to be, this could be a massage. Think of this like a massage, right? You're a masseuse. You have 80 customers in a month. You charge them $80 a piece. That's $6,400. That's all. That's it. That's what it was. That's what it was. Okay? So your revenue was $6,400. Okay. Let me get that out of the way because that was all up in your way now. So what did we do? We took this equation and the thing that we had was $80. So we put the 80 where the P is because that was the price. That's all we did. Okay? Okay? Then we took the quantity to get, the ultimate answer. What is the sales volume and revenue at this price, right? So we had 80 sessions, right? Because this is the sales volume. Whoops. I just went forward. Hold on. Sales volume is the Q, right? The sales volume was the Q, right? And that was 80. And then the quantity or the sessions times the price per session, right, equals the revenue. Okay. So are we done yet? The answer is no, because there's a B and a C. Okay. All right. Do B the exact same way. The exact same way. All we do is we look at our original equation and we say, okay, what do we have? What do we have? Right? We have our equation. Q equals 200 minus 1.5 times. What we didn't have was our P for price, $90. We just raised our price to $90. It was 80, now it's 90. Okay. All right. So what do? We simply do our equation and we plug in the $90 in the P. That's it. You're plugging in the $90. So we're doing 200 minus 1.5 times 90. Now we all know, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. We're excusing my dear Aunt Sally a lot today. So what do? We have to go 1.5, and we're right here, times 90. Because that's the number that we needed to plug into this equation. We were given the equation. It was missing the price. They gave us the price, and now we could do the equation. It's that easy. It's hard, or however you want to say it. It's not bad. But you can't look at it and say, oh my gosh, I'm lost. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to end. You have to be very practical. What number can you plug in, and what does that number represent, right? As soon as you say that to yourself, you are good. Okay. So 1.5 times 90 equals 135. So I just, I brought it down and I said, hey, this is 135. So 200 minus 135, which is just a part of the equation, is 65. So Q, or the quantity, or the number of sessions that we have here, are 65. So we raised the price $10 because we're greedy. No, I'm just kidding, but we raised the price. I don't know why. $10. And whereas we used to be doing 80 sessions a month, now we're doing 65. So the number of sessions went from 80 in A, which was our previous slide, to 65 here. Revenue equals the number of sessions per month times P. So you have $65 is the revenue per session, right? $65 is the quantity. Okay, so sales volume equals Q times P. All right, so we have 65, which is the amount of sessions we have per month now. They dropped, right? And the price is $90. So although you're charging $10 more, you lost a lot of customers. So what does that mean? It means that your sales volume dropped to 5,850. It was $6,400, and now it's 5,850. How do we know that? Very simple. You took the 65, which was your Q, or your quantity, or your number of sessions. You had 65 sessions. You gave out 65 massages, and you charged $90 for each one of them. So 65 times 90 equals $5,850, right? Easy breezy. So keep track of this. In A, we had $6,400 in volume, in sales, and in B, we had 5,850. We charged more in B than we did A, and our sales volume dropped. People don't like to pay more for the same thing. It irritates them. Okay. All right, here's C. In C, we did the same thing. We took our equation, Q, quantity, number of sessions in this case, equals 200 minus 1.5 times P. Well, now our P is $70. So we went from $80 to $90, and now we lowered our price to $70. People like that, right? People tend to really, really like that. It's cheaper. We like it, right? Okay. So ask yourself, how do I achieve sales volume and revenue? How am I going to get my Q? Well, I'm going to plug in my P, and then I'll get my Q. So Q equals 200 minus 1.5 times P. The P here is the only other number that they're giving us, which is the $70. 1.5 times 70 equals 105. And again, just for continuity purposes, I'm going to do it here for you. Times 70 equals 105, right? And then 200 minus 105 equals 95. So our Q equals 95. So the number of sessions we did is 95. That's a lot more than we did when we raised the cost to $90. So this is pretty good, right? So number of sessions went from 80 in A to 65 in B when we raised the price, to 95 here in C when we lowered the price. So we have 95 massages, or whatever it is, this month at $70 a massage. So 95 times 70, we made $6,650. So sales volume dropped from 6,400 to 5,850 when we raised the price. But then when we lowered the price back down, and actually lower than it was to begin with, it rose back up to $6,550. In totality, the clinic currently charges $80. What is the sales volume and revenue at this price? Here is a little chart I made at $80, which was our first equation, at $90, which was our second one, and at $70. And as you can see, at $80, we were doing okay, $6,400, not bad. We had 80 customers. That was pretty good. When we rose the price, ultimately, we lost 15 people. They said, the heck with you. You're too expensive now, right? Or whatever the case may have been. There was some kind of opportunity cost there. And then lastly, we lowered the price again, and we saw not only those original customers come back, but a few more, and we ended up making more money. So if the clinic raised its price to $90, what would happen to volume and revenue? And that was right here. The volume went down and the revenue went down. We lost customers and we lost money, right? That's the answer to that question. Both dropped. If the clinic lowered its price to $70, what would happen to volume and revenue? If we look in C, when we lowered it to $70, we saw an increase in our quantity, an increase in people who came to use our service, and we also saw an increase in expected sales. Now, it says that increase in revenue is not guaranteed, but we did a pretty good job here. And even though it's not guaranteed, in this case, it worked out that way. All right. Now, I put all of these little pictures up because I want you to feel this way about how you did. And that's how we do demand. You can do it. You can do it. Hey, you. Yes, you can do it. That's from Ghostbusters, I believe. You can do it. Don't worry. You got this, and we can do it. Okay, and we did it, and that's what we did. So the next time you are feeling as though you are lost or confused or that you didn't know how to do it, or that it was too difficult, or that you were never going to be able to figure it out, I want you to think back at this example and what we did here today and how you were able to follow along with it, and how all you really had to do was plug in a number and be logical and practical in your assessment of what you needed to do, and you did it, and it's awesome, and you're awesome. And we are going to move on now to our next chapter. And I am also going to post this PowerPoint so you can keep going back through this. This is going to be something that you guys have now anytime you want to go back to it. Okay, let's move forward. Let's move on.